The River Tees is an open sewer. Industry pours 500 million gallons of polluted matter into it every day and hides behind a law that obstructs the public's right to know what the effluent is. The human sewage from 500,000 people gushes into the Tees, most of it untreated. The net result, even 20 miles upriver, at what was once a beauty spot, the fish are dying. When was the last time you saw a salmon this far up the Tees?
Oh, round about 1921, I should think, or two. Harry Weedy was the last man to hold the salmon licence for the fishery across there, and he gave up the licence in 1925 because he'd only caught one salmon in the last 2 years.
What do you think of the state of the river today?
It's horrible, sir. Makes me very angry and very sad.
Oxygen has almost disappeared from this water. Today, the discharge from industry is 17 times greater than in 1931. Tests show that the quantity of cyanide alone has increased by 100%. The law says that the River Authority must take the level of pollution in 1960 as acceptable and control only the excesses since then. But in 1960, the pollution level was anything but acceptable. A massive sewage treatment scheme has been 5 years in the planning and still awaits detailed approval. In the meantime, new housing pumps even more untreated sewage into the Tees. What is the state of the River Tees today?
The Tees is one of the most polluted rivers in this country. It takes the untreated sewage from a population of about 400,000 people and the effluents from one of the largest chemical complexes in the world.
What's your reaction then to the situation today?
We must improve the state of the river to clean it up.
That's easily said and rather less easily done.
Yes, the cost of doing this will be about 20 to 25 million pounds, but the operating costs and the capital charges on a 20 million scheme will mean something like 2 million to 2.5 million pounds a year in running costs, which at the present rateable value on Teeside would mean something like £0.50 on the rates.
Now, when do you think that the Tees will be at what you would term to be an acceptable level of cleanliness?
I would think by about 1978 to 79.
Another
8 to 10 years.
Alderman, 10 years is a very long time for this river to continue as it is today.
No, it's been here for thousands of years and it'll be here for thousands of years yet.
One hopes not in this state.
No, no.
The pollution leaves its residue on the riverbanks and where the Tees meets the sea. 5 months ago, Mrs. Bland and Mrs. Jackson brought their sons, Graham and Alan, to play on the beach.
It was a gloriously sunny day. A lot of people were here. Children played, we sat, and we had a lovely day. And as they came out of they built sand castles and buried one another, as boys usually do. As they came out of the sand, Alan felt rather sore as he brushed against me.
During the course of the day at school, he started to blister rather badly. By the time he got home at tea time, he had large blisters, larger than half a crown.
Now, what did the boys look like 24 hours after they'd been buried in the sand?
Like something out of Quatermass. It was absolutely repulsive.
Are they scarred today?
Yes.
And this is how long after the incident?
5 months.
5 months.
How do you feel about this?
The industry, isn't it, in this area? I mean, you've got to... surely they realise that some of the things that they are tipping are toxic, even when dropped into a river. If you touch a patch of this stuff, well, or if it washes onto the sand, it's still toxic.
These were two boys in the summer who were playing on the beach and obviously were burned by chemicals. We did extensive tests of the sand, took samples of it from various depths, and really, in fact, discovered no cause. So whatever it was a very temporary, transient thing.
But nonetheless, it was pollution.
Well, nonetheless, it almost certainly was some contamination of the beach by pollution, yes.
Do you think you'll ever find out what it was?
No, we couldn't find out immediately afterwards. There's little chance of finding out now.
Until perhaps it happens again?
If it happens again, yes.
Do you think, Doctor, that the people of Teesside accept too readily the environment in which they live?
I think generally speaking they do. I often think if the population of some of the southern resorts were to be sort of switched over and brought up here, there'd be a hue and cry from them if they had to put up with some of the things that people in Teesside are expected to put up with. And incidentally, some of the people living in the south are really living in fairly smug comfort from the hard work of the northerners.
And the profits.
And the profits.
But if progress is literally at the cost of the earth we live on, what then?
There's grime all over the ground, there's grime all over the ground, there's grime all over the ground, inside this ring of iron, and this smoke up in the sky, it's all around.
To curb pollution will cost money. To push through tougher laws will take determination. Meanwhile, Teeside, under its man-made clouds, is a warning that for too long, too many have put up with too much.
So it's out of town I'm bound, aye, out of town I'm bound, it's out of town I'm bound, I'll break this ring of iron, and it's all around the town.